All right, my friends, here we go. This is the Dojo training program. And we are going to be looking at the graduates 1,000 plus today. Where's my... That's close enough, buddy. This, by the way, is the test. I was just looking at the scores. This is the Polgar rating test for the 500 to 1,000, which we count for the line. We count for the 400 to 1,100. Anyways, super fun. I'm going to be talking about those tests a little bit in the show today as well. There we go. View all. Yesterday, we have to do this date. Yesterday, we did the 1,000 all the way through people who made it to the 1,100. So, to George there. And I think, yeah, we're going to go David Ham today. It's going to be pretty fun. That dude has a really interesting blog. Maybe we'll even scope it out a little bit. Okay, so let's begin. We'll start off with Kellen. Let's see what's going on with Kellen. Kellen is just graduating like mad as well. Every pod you take, I like it, dude. I think these millennials, they might not even know about the police, dude. They might not even know. As I've aged, I've really understood that the police were one of the greatest bands. I liked them when I was a kid and everything, but I didn't understand the incredible genius, musicality, and the way the songs have stuck around. You know, a lot of other bands, they didn't make it. Okay, so let's take a look. Kellen has a tactics rating, looking pretty good. We want Kellen to do those tactics tests, and that will kind of solidify what Kellen's got. These tests for the under 1,500 are kind of new. I need people to take them. At the moment, we really don't have enough test takers for the graph to be accurate. Now, of course, eventually, you know, after you take the test, your rating will, let's say that once you get 100 plus people doing the test, the rating line will be accurate. Anyways, we need people to be taking that as well as Kellen should be doing it for his own selfish purposes. Okay, clubs, no clubs. Activity. Lots of time. We're going to look at this cohort. So he did it in 42 hours. Looks like epic endgame work. And so the macro is kind of strange. Also with the hours. Very much about endgame. We would want to see a little bit more yellow, a little more blue, a little more green. Not that the endgame's bad or something. Here we go, games. So we might have looked at this one already, but let's just presume we haven't. This is one of the reasons I go here. I haven't looked at this one. At least I'm supposed to hit this marked review thing when we get there. All right, time. Let's just first look at the time, which was a 30 plus 30. And these people, you know, maybe we will see if we can criticize them, but in general, it looks like a reasonable time graph so far. All right. So, a little weird, but okay. Fine. Weird. Yeah. So, this is called, now he's got a, well, I don't know, it's bad all around. This person decides to fianchetto their queen. Not recommended by the highest theoreticians, if you know what I mean. Okay. You are obviously doing great. And you push. And you go here. I thought a while in this position. I ultimately ended here with the plan to kick his knight with c6 and retake with my knight. It's possible that knight takes is better, or c6, or knight c6. Honestly, I think you are doing better no matter what. That's what I think. And what I like about your decision is knight c6 would at least enable him to develop the bishop naturally with bishop b5. So I don't have any critique with this move. Good. Poor move. Does this blunder a fork? Well, you can kind of get out of it, but you definitely want to play c6 here. Oh. Okay, so here it's very interesting. Okay, so this looks like a miscalculation. Let's show what happened. So he goes for it like this, and then goes this way. This is what I calculated, but missed that he can take with queen takes c6. Now, what's interesting about this to me is white has broken so many rules here that when you take like you do, you are going to really blow the position up, open the position up. And when we are ahead in time like you are here, it's not a bad idea. So you're going to, if he does take, you're going to have rook c8. And he owes you a knight move. He owes you a pawn move to get this bishop out. And of course, if he takes like rook c8, you're going to talk to that pawn. It's not going to be so pleasant for a peasant. So it's interesting what you did. All right, so you defend. Now here I would have guessed bishop d6 so that you can pop the queen without losing the pawn. A little odd still. This guy's a fianchettoer. Oh, that wasn't good. Now he realizes his mistake. Okay, so it's interesting. I've been thinking a lot about doing a lot of these graduation shows, what gets people to the next level. And sometimes I'm looking at games when the under 1,000 cohorts like yesterday, and there'll be very few blunders. And here we've already seen, well, white's played egregiously bad. Let's just say that. White's played some really bad moves. Okay. Fine. Oh, that wasn't it. Okay. And now you go here. 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 Well, you're playing beautiful chess. Beautiful chess. Oh, that wasn't it. Boom. Well, he's toast. Yeah. So this guy's blundering everything away. Okay, so easy victory. Easy victory. And nice finish. Really nice finish. Yeah. So simple and strong. Maybe it'd be interesting to know what this person's rating is or something. But Kellen, that was definitely a tour de force. We want more games from you. More games from you. Frisbee Dows. And I remember I've done some graduations with Kellen before, but he didn't have games, so now he does, so that's great. Okay, so. All right, next up we have Kaniska. Kaniska says, in my humble opinion, the Polgar mates in 2 were the best part of the tactics training for this cohort. And I'm absolutely in love with the new puzzle framework in the dojo, where you have to provide all the lines for the puzzle. Great. It forces me to stop and think. The main problem has been playing tons of blitz and not playing enough rapid classical. I'm hoping to stop playing blitz as I go to the next cohort. I would love to be paired with a sparring partner to practice middle games, since that is my main weakness at the moment. Okay, beautiful. I'm really, I think I said on the show yesterday, I'm a little bummed out that, let me just say this. I watched my student he's in the 18-19 cohort, and I watched him do one of the endgame tests, the one for his cohort, and it was a struggle, man. It was anxiety. He was like, God damn, this is hard. He was like, oh no, it was like a math test. Should I skip this one? Am I a better strategy to skip it? And so the way we've done these problems is really like a real game, but I'm worried that they're not user friendly enough. It's kind of like with that puzzle rush thing, it's so like addictive, and it's like you don't really have to ever think deeply. There's always a clear-cut answer, whereas these ones, it's like you're going to get pushed to the limit, for like an hour. For the under 1,000, it's a 30-minute test. For the under 1,500, I believe it's a 45-minute test, but then above that, it's an hour, and it's an hour of struggle. Anyways, so I'm really wanting people to do the test for the variety of reasons. One, I made most of them. So, I want to see what people do with them. Two, I think it will help them. Also help them gauge where they are. But we need a lot of people taking the test to get a really accurate reading of, like, in this test, what does the rating of 25 mean here, right? As an example. And if you don't have at least 100, in my experience, the line can be kind of weird sometimes. Okay, here we go. Kostya. Thank you for the compliment about the puzzles. So, Kostya has not done the tactics test, though. Has done the programming. The tactics tests are pretty new still, though, for his cohort. A puzzle survival rating, crushing it. Look at that. Well, that's amazing. Giving the dojo PTSD from the endgame test. Yes, sir. That's what I am doing. Yes, sir. Okay. So, this looks great. 12:35. Really nice progress. No clubs. Kostya, tell us where you are. Kostya, tell us where you are. What are you doing? Here, we got somebody who's very tactics heavy. And you could see that in their description of what they were doing. Definitely need more games and analysis. Let's see if we got a game. We got one. I'm going to guess I've already done this one because it's so long ago. Let's click. Now, I haven't. We'll see if I remember it. I might not have clicked it. We just started the clicking fairly recently. Uh-oh, somebody blew it. Bam! Take that. Yep. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We're doing fine. Uh-oh. Yeah. It'd be good to know how long you took here. And all of a sudden now, we have made life a little complicated for ourselves. In general, we can say that Queen b6 is kind of fun and interesting, but Bishop b4, you're playing with fire, and there's no need to play with fire in this position. Bring your knight out, Bows. Bring it out. Bring the knight out. So what I want you to see is even if you missed knight c8, you should say to yourself, this is more loose than I need to do because I'm just winning here. And then, right, to find b3, that's the next level. All right, are you still winning? We would say so. Whoa, buddy. Queen e8. You are, however, winning this pretty comfortably. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. Oh, man. Now, here's where you let the computer or something do the annotations for you. I don't know. Yeah, there's some computery stuff here. So here it's very interesting and important to analyze King e7. At the moment, it doesn't look great for you here, right? So the variation would go King e7, King c5, King d7, and the bummer is that when we play here, he goes here. However, Yeah, that's the bummer. So we have to do it now, or else king c7 happens. Now, we got to do this. d3, king a7. See, the trick that I'm hoping for is king c7, b6. But I think we're just crispy critters now. Yeah, that's what's known as crispy critters. Yeah. Bummer. Okay, so that was the variation we need to see. That's definitely too frisky. You went for it. King c7. Knight a6. Yes, sir. Now, b5, d3, king c7, d2, takes here. It is not immediately apparent to me that he is going to pick up your coconut. Yeah, it is not apparent to me. For example, check to the miserable king. We go, oh, be careful, buddy. We got to go. Let's just think for a second. Oh, man, this one's hot. This one's hot. I'm telling you. So these endgames, to analyze them, this is how we get good. There's a lot to discuss here. Like here, there's only one check. We go here, and I think there's only one check. We go here. And again, I don't think there's any way for him to get back there. Now, that's not an exhaustive analysis, but that's the kind of thing I want you to look at. Okay, so this is a full blunder. This is somebody not thinking at all, because knight a6, who knows what's happening? That wasn't it. That wasn't it. Easy peasy. Okay. So, let's go back a sec. Kostya, you're doing good. We got this elegant rating jump. A little bit more time, be good, more games. I promise you, if you do more game analysis, you will progress. Okay, so we go back. Next up, we have Aman, who is okay. Canadian, let's follow on. Had this huge jump. He looks like he hit the graduation button here and then he fell down a little bit, something like that. Tactics rating hasn't done these things yet, but the Polgar rating conforms. Can we say that conforms to the rating of Aman? And then this probably hasn't done too much, neither of these two. So we want these to get going. All right, clubs, Canada. There we go. Oh, he's the founding member of Canada Dojo. Now the other dojos, there's a lot of people in there, and I think there's like a Montreal dojo and stuff, but so far only one Canada dojo. Where is Milton, Canada? Hold on. Milton, Canada. It's a beautiful town out there in the prairies. Southern Ontario. Oh, near Toronto. Okay. That Toronto, yeah, it says, Wikipedia says Milton is booming. 132,000 people. 71% increase in population from 2001 to 2006. Because all those Canadians live in the same place, man. They all live in the same place. Oh, yeah. I played a tournament in Kitchener years ago. That's even, I would call that another suburb of Toronto. Okay, Kraai, stop geeking out on Canada, okay? So, we got an activity. Oh, looks like we had some good games here. And games. Well, we only have one. How come there's so much here, but only one game here? We want more. So, oh, that's not a game. That's not a game. Okay. So, Aman, we have our work cut out for us, bud. We need to have some games annotated, analyzed. Toronto, a farm south of Woodstock. Okay. I think Faugra's in the chat. Aman, dude, give us some games, Baus. Give us some games. All right, next up we have Dr. Otakon, who has graduated numerous times. Fell a bit behind with analyzing my games, so with graduating now, I also forced myself to analyze a new game for Jesse to review. There we go. Dr. Otakon, are you in the chat? Swiss adult. Oh, channel them are cool. Yep. Look at this dude, man. Crushing. Crushing. We want to do the tactics test. Otherwise, this all looks pretty believable about the scores here. Yeah, look how close actually all these are to the actual rating. So clubs, European, activity. We definitely want to see what Channel and Mercool did here. And a lot of, well, it's the time probably doesn't match this because he's got a lot of endgame work going on here. Okay. Otherwise, hopefully we're going to hope for some games here. Well, as he said, he had to do one. He had to do one. All right. So he's got 16 games. Well done. Played this on the 9th and then worked on it for 3 days. This is R4DO. Sounds like a R2D2 a little bit. First round of the Dojo Open Classical. Great. We'll take a look. Oh, this is what it looks like in a dojo game. People using their time here. Let's click on the time control. So 60 plus 30. We'll leave that open. I'll mark this as reviewed. Okay, so here we go. This should be fun. A little frisky. Okay. So the old timer move there is Queen E3. Queen D1 will just say, isn't it? Knight F6, very good move. Bishop D3. And here to play D5 looks very plausible, but your move can't be wrong. You could still get away with D5. And castling, right, I like it a little bit better. But honestly, D6 can't be wrong, as long as you're following the rules. Okay, you're following the rules. And now you want to mess with them a little bit. Okay. I think this is okay. We are moving a developed piece twice, but you are putting some good pressure on him. A little bit of a crisis for white. The safe move for white would now be bishop E2. White says, I don't care about safety. Snip, snop, bump. And now bishop takes C5 looks like a blunder. Okay. And you talk about bishop F1. It's got to be bishop F1. Let's read what you write. In hindsight, I probably should have just taken the rook. Let's put his move in. I was thinking I had a quick mating attack, but it's more a dream than anything else. I have this issue in playing lower-rated opponents where I'm thinking it's on me to make something happen, instead of just playing solid chess and wait for their mistakes. He already did a mistake. He just did his mistake. You take his exchange. Oh, man. Yeah, take it. Take it. Now, it is true that your position is massive even after this, but, the easy way to win is, of course, to take the rook. Yeah, we definitely don't want to get in some kind of psychological trap where we're telling ourselves we got to crush him senseless. And, of course, C6. This bishop B5 move is not an impressive move. One thing I want you to see about C6 is not only is it winning a tempo, but you are dominating the knight. I know why you did it. You're going for your cheapo. You're hoping for this queen G5. Pop, pop. And now we have ourselves an endgame. And you played king d7. I like king d7 a lot, I think. It's a little frisky, but what I like about it is you're just saying, you know what, I'm going to keep the king in the center. Very weird to play rook fe1 instead of rook fd1. Now here, I think, especially from a positional point of view, you want to play c6 here so that your king can scooch and you can dominate the knight. This endgame, it would be worth saying a couple words about what's happening here. You have the better minor piece. Your king is better, much better. It's hard for the white king to get out. And after a move like c6, dude is going to have to figure out his knight. Okay, so here we go. Boom. I know, by the way, I know what you're doing, buddy. I've been around. You want to do the nasty to him with rook e6, rook g6. First of all, not very sporting, not very nice. But second of all, that's the kind of thing that can be stopped, right? And then you're running the risk of him improving his position. Now his move, f4, is very frisky. The safe move, I think, would be check to the miserable king, knight d5, and now if you go here or here, hoping for your cheap shot, we'll play knight f4 and push your bishop back. Okay, so f4 might also work. It's just a little frisky. Good move. e3. Okay. Rook e3, kind of an annoying move. Now that one scares me, because isn't he winning a pawn after rook g3? He goes this one. Oh, isn't he winning a pawn? Right? My pawn is gone. Okay. So bishop e6, f5, bishop c4 might be just the sad thing you have to do. Now after f4 too, we need a move. I think you need, by the way, so we want to fix his pawns at some point, and maybe a move like f6 so that we can go back and do this kind of thing. I'm going to guess you missed rook e3, and your opponent didn't understand how powerful it was either, because he didn't play rook g3. And he tanked too. That was one of his big tanks. e7. I don't get it. Why aren't we playing king c7? And this is the file, bud. This is the one we need to work with. You guys are obsessed over there. You're obsessed. Good move. That's where the pawn belongs. And now he goes for it. Now, this is very controversial, fe5, because now, if we just imagine him not doing anything, not threatening anything much, then it's not really going anywhere. And you play, I'm going to say, the safe move with f5, but that takes away, now your rooks aren't doing anything. Now I do think we have to worry about this. So I think the pro move, if I'm allowed to call it that, is b6. That way we're ready to meet knight e4 with fe. That's at least what I would want to investigate. Because I want to tie his pieces down. I want to say, no, Baus, you ain't going nowhere. I got this under control. All right, f5. Now he should think strongly about transferring the rook to the d file. Maybe a good move. Now transfer to the d file. No, he does not. Time to Manhattan transfer to the d file, my friends. White's then maybe, well, it's at least a dangerous position for black. I don't get it. Okay, he's fixing his knight. frisky. A positional blunder, in my opinion. King f6 is the move I miss when calculating. Luckily for me, my opponent didn't find it. Yeah, now we're getting real, things are getting real dangerous. And I didn't understand what you wanted with h6, but here you're just following through on the move you had intended, right? So if anything, you could say h6 was part of the problem. And then, all right, king f6, good. Rook e7, check to the miserable king. And the knight here. Yeah, honestly, I would say it's probably winning. It looks horrendous. Because that h-pawn's going to run. The king is fantastic. Okay, so rook c4. Big miss. King e7. Okay, and now not only did he miss king f6, but now there's real questions about Mr. Knight being pinned. h4. b5. It's getting hot. f4. e6. h5. This guy is just going for it. King f8. And now h6. Oh my gosh, there's some really exciting things happening here. One thing I don't understand is, why don't we just, well, I don't know. Now, I just want to stress, this position is a bit study-like, right? Because white has a lot of positional trumps, but his knight is horrendously pinned. He's really pinned his knight badly. So he needs to be imagining things like, well, is there some way I can give up the knight to get out of the pin or do something interesting? And it's, it's difficult. So, especially after he misses rook d1. Rook d1, it's like, boss, get out of the pin, man. Get out of the pin, dude. Right? Even if he hadn't found king f6, if he had just said, boss, I'm pinned. Get me out of here. Get me out of here, So much better. So much better. Okay, so, you give this variation, right? Yeah. Let's just continue this for a second. Let's say go h5 like a madman. I'm assuming this is winning. I'm just checking. Yeah, we're just fine here. Okay. Oh, my phone's ringing. Okay, good. So the thing is, maybe he's already gone here. Oh, I don't know what he's supposed to do in any case. Here's maybe a good way to try to draw the game for him. But this rook g, Yeah, okay, so yeah. We go pop, 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 pop. And black's issue is keeping a lot. We're going to lose at least one pawn, and we got to we got to like not lose all of them. Yeah, it's a difficult position. This would be one to analyze. Okay, so h5. Okay. Wait a second. No, 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 no. We let him out of the pin? We let him out of the pin? Okay, wait. So, h6, we cannot let him out of the pin. Bishop g6 effectively lets him out of the pin. So, let's improve. We never want to let him move the rook. So, I think we want bishop g8. Right? And if king f5, we go king f7. We have to be like, no, boss. You are not allowed to ever move the rook. Because now, dude's okay. Now, knight g3 is a blunder. But he just needs to move somewhere else. You know, knight g1, knight c1, knight c3, rook h2. Yeah, easy chess. Because then rook g6, we play king h5. We're still alive. All right, big blunder. Check to the miserable king. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're getting frisky with your a5 move, Vamos. Check to the miserable king. There we go. He's not doing nothing. Oh, that's evil. Okay, that was a good game. So, what did we see in this game? We saw someone, you're going to get this a lot. So somebody who did not develop their pieces, after which you got an amazing position. And then, you know, this thing where I think the one thing you should really yell at yourself is not just taking the rook. Let's take the rook, bud. Come on now. Come on. So notice, and the guy found some counterplay with f4 and rook e3. Well done. You know, well done. Okay, Dr. Otakun, we will see you again soon. And next up, we have Mark Roddy. Mark Roddy says, while progressing through this cohort, I found the Polgar mates became more enjoyable the more I did, and they definitely helped with visualization and time management during my games, as I began to get more thoughtful about how my opponent would respond after each move I made. I also really enjoyed winning chess tactics, as it provided a nice range of tactics with varying difficulty levels. I was disappointed to see the Chernev books removed from the cohort, as I feel I have learned a lot about strategic ideas from them. One thing I just mentioned, we didn't remove it. We didn't remove it from the program. I believe before it was in a couple cohorts, and it was me who was really saying each cohort should have its own book. I want people like be study groups and stuff, you know, when they meet. And so, great book, nothing wrong with Chernev, but I believe it's in the 11 to 1200 cohort. I did not enjoy Modern Ideas in Chess as much, as it just didn't draw the reader into the games in the same way. I got a DGT Pegasus the other day. Oh, man. And I began playing some longer games, finding them to be very beneficial. This is the new wave, my friends. People playing on, like, boards, real boards, but playing online. Reviewing these games was even more worthwhile and definitely more instructive than the 30-minute games I'd been reviewing in the previous cohort. Right. As you get better, you're going to need to play longer games. Using my time was my biggest issue in the previous cohort, and possibly still is, but I feel I'm getting better at slowing down. Looking forward to the next cohort. Beautiful. Okay. So let's go over here. MLAD asks, what website is this? This is a ChessDojo training program. Website. You just go ChessDojo.club or Google ChessDojo, You will find it. Okay, so this is Mark, and Mark is doing really well. Look at that, 1330. We want him to do the tactics test. That looks pretty consonant with his rating. Clubs, European, Irish. Now there's an Irishman up there, a leprechaun. Red-haired leprechaun playing some chess bows. All right. So, activity. Let's do the last one. Pretty good spread here. Heavy on the end games. Looking good. Let's see if we got a game. So, this is Mark Roddy. This was played fairly recently. Mark is reviewed. We'll see what's going on. Uh-oh. Probably the time wasn't entered correctly or something like that. Round 5 of my first OTB. Great. I always want to say, really cool when people join the dojo, you know, and a lot of them, maybe Mark is included in this, joined it as pandemic boom, or maybe they had played some but didn't take it seriously, and now people are getting out and playing some over the board, which is kind of like a sign of graduation, right? We've done the online thing, and that's fine, but then we're going to move on to do some deep thinking where it looks like this is a game 90 over here. Okay, so here we go. So far, so good. Good. And now, so a little bit engine-y here. Why is it that we would rather play e6 rather than takes d4? That's to me more important than anything the engine's saying. Okay, so when we play e6, the first thing to recognize is that we have achieved an amazing French. In a lot of ways, this is the dream that Black has when they play against the advance, to get a French position where our bishop is outside the pawn chain instead of being a chump back here. Now, why do we want e6 rather than cd? Because when we take on d4, we free this square for Mr. Knight, the pony. But now that pony's poor, so we're not really interested in taking the pawn until maybe something like knight bd2, right? Okay, so here we go. That's why it's the top engine line. I'm assuming that the knight does it, like he gives knight d2, you get castle first, but in any case, pop, pop, and now the knight doesn't get to go here. Okay, by the way, the thing for Karo players to understand about a position like this is the long-term trend is in your favor. You have a target. It's very simple. It's very simple. We're gonna put a knight there, pop, pop, you know, and we're gonna say, you worry about it, buddy. You worry about it. Okay, here we go. They don't get it. They don't get it. Hilariously, a lot of times people, well, okay, leave it, Kraai. Good move. Little funky. Knight f5, great. And now queen b6, fine. And now we have a kind of interesting question. Do we want to take that thing? I expected this move and decided I would take the bishop, taking the bishop pair and also creating a new target on e3. When bishop e3 appeared on the board, I still spent a few minutes weighing my options. I couldn't come up with a better plan, so I took the bishop. Okay, so what's important to understand about this, I'm sure it's playable to take the bishop, but what I want you to see about it is that now the d4 pawn is completely secure, right? You're not messing with it anymore. So this knight is kind of dead now. This queen will be kind of dead after you take the thing, right? Further, you can take it whenever you want. There's absolutely zero rush in taking that thing. So the simpleton way to play, which I guess much prefer, is just play here and castle and see what he does. You got a great position. Okay, so here we go. Dynamic is now changed. Now you're trying to say that you own the dark squares. H3, nobody likes it. And I like this comment because Now that you own this beautiful dark square bishop, white's problem is, oh no, oh no, my dark squares need to be tended to. Right? So here white needs a plan. He could think about queen e1, g3. He could think about this trade. He could think about rook c1, knight c5. These are the things he can dream about. All right, so poor move. We, by the way, want to take that bad bishop, but we'll trade that guy off right away. a3, little fancy. And here's kind of like what you dreamed of the whole time, I assume. Poor. If he wants to put his knight there, he should play queen d2. The rook on b1 is passive. Okay. So knight e7 now looks a little bit superficial. And, oh, here, okay. Mark. Mark. The computer's killing your gains here a little bit. What I want you to see about this is it's not enough to be like, oh, computer sees this interesting exchange sack. At the very least, you know, you should say to yourself, well, why is it interesting, right? And for me as a French player, I'm going to take this thing immediately. I don't need any help doing it. It might not be immediately obvious for everyone. But the point is, this guy's weak, and you can block the c-file, so the rooks aren't going to crush you anytime soon, right? Even so, hard to evaluate. I mean, obviously the machine told you something, but what the actual evaluation here is, I would rather be black, but I wouldn't be 100%. I just know I'd be comfortable. Okay. To me, that feels misplaced. I'm not sure what h4 does. Not sure I get that. I played this move to prepare knight c6. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Knight c6, knight a4, queen a5, b4. And you have bishop e3, queen e3, queen d4. I have a feeling that's a computer line, right? Okay. So h4, a6. Before you squirm, see, this is where you still take this thing. And I guess, right, but all the guy has to do is play b4. He just needs to play b4, and this 95 thing isn't going anywhere. Uh-oh. Bam! He didn't see it. Oh, now you own it. Now you own him. Good move. Notice that your pawns are on the absolute right square color, and your bishop controls the dark. Pawns control the light, bishop controls the dark. I played this in order to set up a discovered check after d4, fd4. But yeah, you could still play d4, right? Thank you very much. Terrible. Beautiful. And now you have this winning endgame. Bad, he should at least, I don't know, at least try h6 or something. Yep, king g7. The nice news is you can take your time a little bit here. Is that true, Kraai? Uh-oh. In general, we don't want to exchange the rooks. Now this is a draw. Okay. So let's go back a second and talk about it. So the reason it's so nice for you is you own the c-file, and the white bishop isn't doing anything. But to win this thing, you need to understand that you need an attack on the dark squares, and you need your rooks to be engaged. You can't be trading off all of it. So, for example, here I don't like it. I don't understand. Excuse me, rook b8 I think is okay. But here, king g7 to trade off the rooks, you're kind of like saying, oh, I want to trade it all off. Notice, You own the dark squares. He puts his rooks over here. That's just a mistake. They're not doing anything. They're not doing nothing. So what's our correct move? Let's go a5. Let's go then a4. Let's go b4. Let's push the rooks. We need to create another weakness over there. Look how beautiful this is. He can't do anything to you. Complete chumpville over there. Okay, so we get this ending, and now, especially after we trade those rooks, this is a draw. Well, he blew it, didn't he? He just let you walk all the way in. Okay. So here's an interesting thing. This is a little bit more higher level. But when we get to this kind of endgame, what do I want to say? He has great drawing chances. I think it is drawing because it's easy to blockade the pawns. Why is it easy to blockade? Because he controls the light. So he controls this push, right? And so king g5, he just needs to not lose his mind over here. And he needs to be careful. e5 looks like a dynamic attempt, for example. King f5, check here, takes. And this is a well-known drawing position because I've secured the light square blockade. Okay, still, great game. Congratulations. And that was Mark Roddy. So, Abdul also likes to take the exchange sacrifice. Okay. Next up, we have Norzius. Just joined the dojo, looking forward to improve. A lot of times people join and then they kind of hit the graduation button, so they end up here. So this might not be an actual graduation. 1471. Dude is ready to go again. He's ready to graduate again. Let's see what we got. We want him to do the Polgar mates and the tactics test. Wait, I go here, activity. Just joined. That's okay. From Kazakhstan. Oh man, they got some good chess players out there. Who's in the stands all of a sudden, man. All right, let's look at Norzius over here. So here is time usage, and we're going to say, Norzius, that you have a typical opponent in the online world where they are playing much too fast. Right? We can see it right there. So let's just check. This is a 30 plus 20. And you are also likely moving too fast, but the game did end fairly quickly. We saw that already once today. Good move. Now we're going into a French. This is a poor move. Makes no sense because we're trading off black's one bad piece. You say thank you very much. Now you're doing great. You got a good French. Okay. I would have preferred castling, but that can't be wrong. Looks good to me. Looks like a fork. Good. Oh, now it's just easy. All right, the easy thing to do here would be to trade queens. But it is true that now also it's a really a bad moment here for white, isn't it? Any case, knight c3 would be a question, bishop b4, and it looks terrible. So it already looks like the milk's gone bad. That's definitely a winning endgame to take c3. So I would have definitely wanted to take c3 and play rook c8. But this is also great. That's poor because the bishop wasn't threatening anything yet. You're just going back, buddy. Bang! That wasn't it. All right. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. solid. And let's just highlight the mistakes of your opponent, because when we think about, you're graduating to 13, 14, right? You're going to get this kind of mistake, and you exploited it great. So you just want to think about this kind of mistake. Not using their time, doing terrible positional moves, right? So let's just say the whole thing about this C5 move, the reason it's maybe not so great is that when it takes, the Caro player has to play E6 and get a French structure. What is the problem with the French? Well, you got this bishop. Why do Caro players play the Caro con? Because they want to get the bishop out. They want to get the bishop out. So now, white just completely helps you out and develops one of your pieces by this trade. So, that's the kind of mistake we're going to see. Superficial chess from your opponent. Yeah, it'll get harder. It'll get harder, but you exploiting this player was really good. Really well done. Oh, my friends, next up we have David Ham. This is a cool dojo moment. So, and we're going to read his novel that he wrote for me. David Ham, are you in the chat, buddy? Are you in the chat? He has a really cool blog that I read, and we'll go visit it a little bit here too. Okay. And I do want to stress, David has been working, has graduated several times before, but we'll read what he says, but I think this one was more of a struggle. And, at some point, it's going to get hard. And you can see he did 112 points of work to get here, too. So let's read. This is a meaningful graduation for me. It has been about 14 months since my last graduation. 4 months. Those 4 months saw around 2 months of journeying through my first bout with burnout. See, and he's got these Lead Chess blogs 11 through 18. My initial return to classical time controls was really bumpy, and then something changed. I started working with nose. Since our first meeting, I've gone up around 100 points. I have had the great opportunity to work with 2 coaches who are IMs. They were both great in their own ways, and 1 coach who was an FM. Not a fit for me. Nose is by far the best teacher I've had to this point. Oh man, here we go. During today's lesson, for example, he provided great guidance on how a beginner like me can recognize key points in a game and how to calculate utilizing the 3-ply framework, and thereby use more than 5 minutes in a 45-30 game. We spent the greater part of an hour working on 2 key positions in my most recent game, and it was fun, instructive, and transformational in how I think about and play chess. That is not an overstatement. I will expound more on the insights in my next blog. If you haven't scheduled a time with Nose, I can't recommend it enough. It will be the best 25 you invest in your chess, in my opinion. Now, David, I know you're going to not like to hear this, but I'm going to shout out to Nose. Nose, buddy. Bud, you could charge more than 25, man. You're worth it. You're worth it. If you guys don't know Nose, he has been a key player in the dojo community for years, and he's really going for it in his own chess too, and I think really is one of the main people, especially on the Discord, giving people advice, following the program. So great to have Nose around. Coming back to the dojo feels great. The community structure and guidance that is found here is like nothing out there. As a beginner, I feel ahead of my skis going to this cohort where there are non-beginners. But why not? I look forward to learning from you all. Jesse, please have mercy on my lack of time utilization. Nose really helped fix that problem today, so I'll have some better games / time utilization for the next graduation. There is hope for us mid-40 adult improver beginners. Let's go. Okay, that's great. All right, so here we go. Pop. And look at all these graduations the dude's gone through. All right. We need David. Do the Polgar test, boss. Do the tactics test. It'll be amazing. All right, clubs. Denver. Oh, I didn't actually understand he was from Denver. I got invited to play Denver Open this year. Unfortunately, I couldn't go. I've played a couple times there. It's been really good. Okay. It's time for me to have my ice coffee here. Okay, so David, also, dude, link to your blog here. I mean, I'll find it here in a second, but yeah, we want to see your blog, dude. I'm gonna go to your blog though after we look at your game activity cohorts. So I want to see this 100 hours to reach this next level. Yeah. By the way, one of the things with burnout, this is my personal take on burnout, whether it's chess burnout or any other burnout, it happens when you start lacking positive feedback, i.e., you don't feel like you're growing. And for every chess player or any pursuit, really, that there's going to come a point when that seems like it's happening, right? And then it's just like, oh, it feels like a slog, feels like I'm not going anywhere, you know. And that's the time you definitely have to stay committed. You can take a break. You have to stay committed or you just fall off. A lot of people fall off. And maybe shake it up a little bit. Really cool to find somebody like Nose, for example, to point you in some interesting new directions. All right, here we go. Games. Here it is. I kind of want to do this one. If Chess Dad's in the audience, he could tell me. I just want to do this one because it looks like a OTB. Let's see what we got here. This was submitted 2 days ago. Okay, here we go. First OTV. Let's take a look. Okay, sometimes it's hard to put the times in, but the Chess Dojo is actually one of the first websites where you can put your time in and then get a graph. So, Denver Chess Club, nice. It's a really cool chess club out there. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. 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 Rook E8. This was a mistake that really prompted a decision in me. Okay, it's hard for me to imagine that Rook E8 is actually a mistake. Because on Knight G5, the guy should play Rook E7, right? Rook E7. And then kick your knight away. Okay, definitely a blunder. Takes. Now, here you're letting the computer dictate your business here. With inaccuracy, bishop d5 was best. What is the problem with ed5? But the problem is maybe our bishop isn't going to be a true champ after knight a5, right? And will definitely be better, but maybe we're not going to be winning, right? So maybe the computer likes bishop d5. To me, the first thing I would want to look at is, well, am I crushing him with knight d5? I keep the pawn structure solid. I keep my bishop, so I'm looking. So that would be just the first thing I'd look at is like, well, am I crushing him? It looks terrible, right? It looks terrible for black here. Okay. Let me just say, when you put a game annotation in, never let me see that, because then I know that that was computer generated. Okay? Just lie to me if you have to. D6, great move. This clearly black missed that when they played knight d4. So queen d7, that ain't it. Boom. Easy chess. Easy chess. Okay. This is a pivotal error in the game. I calculated between knight e4, which is the right move, and knight f3. The reason I like knight f3 better is because I anticipated knight takes f3, which would allow me to develop my queen. Okay. Now, when we're talking about a blunder, we're saying that bishop g4 is the problem, right? So you should put in bishop g4 and then try to do some analysis. I don't know, or rather I'll say it still seems like you should be winning this position, right? I mean, you won the exchange, things look pretty good, and here we would want to analyze some to see just how bad it is. It could get nasty. Now, one of the things too, when you let the computer do it for you, Maybe the computer just thinks it's obvious. I have to look at it for a second, you know. So for example, here, 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 and the question is, excuse me, this check is hurting me. But still, if I imagine the position and I say king h1, aren't I still much better in this position? Right? I'm still doing great. Okay, but that would be the thing to analyze, I think. E4, this person's just blundering. E1. Yeah. So, definitely, at the very least, we have to say much safer just to take the pawn, you know. Uh-huh. Again, tell us what you think they should have done. You know. I'm assuming you want knight f3. It's still complicated, though. Yeah. Still complicated. Okay, that would be something to analyze. He's got to say thank you when that happens. Very nice move. Knight e2. That's again computer generated. Holy moly. No need to be playing bishop h6. Bows. No need. That's a check. Black resigns. All in all, not the level of play that I would have liked for my return to OTB, but there were moments of more aggressive chess, like knight g5 and bishop h6, that felt good to make OTB, fighting against my more passive nature. Okay, cool. So, now, let me just say a couple things about the analysis. It would be cool. You can enter the times. You don't have to enter it every time, but if you just enter like every 5 moves or every couple moves, then you'll get a graph. You might be playing someone much lower rated. It might be good to know. And I think the computer hurt your analysis, right? Like, we need to know why, say, knight takes d5 or bishop takes d5 is better than the move you did with e d5, right? We need to know what you would rather have done, right, in these positions. Okay, great. Now, I want to give you a shout out here. So, plop, plop, plop. Where I was actually telling folks recently about you here. All right, so we're going to click visit site. So there is David's chess journey, really super cool. And you know, here he's got his dojo progress going on, right? Looking great. Tells all kinds of stuff going on with nose over here. Key moments of the game. He's talking about this game here. Fantastic. And oh yeah, it looks really great. He might be 40 something, but he has the technical skills to embed a game in a blog. Hey, how about that? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, so this is really cool. And as you can see, this dude is doing it. And it's so cool with the blogs that you can see like somebody's progress, you know, their struggles. I don't want to read a blog, by the way, where just somebody's one of these happy people. It's just like, oh, my life's great. You know, your life isn't always great, buddy. I want to hear the real thing. Kind of like David's chess journey. You know, he's telling it to me straight. Okay, so that's that. Really cool. And let's. Oh, I blew it. I'm supposed to do it a little bit differently. That's okay. So here's our graduations. Sometimes I do a little flub. Okay, so next up we have, I can't pronounce it. We're going to call him Ikto. Okay, so here's Ikto. We need Ikto to be doing this business over here, the tactics and the Polgar. No clubs. Tell us where you are, Ikto. Tell us something about you. Looks like there's no games. Let's just see. Well, they've definitely been doing things. But that looks like maybe no games. Let's see. No games. Well, though, that's the first thing. That's the first thing coming into the dojo. He's been here since May, so not that long, actually. Less than a month. Been doing some things. Just encourage you. Let's get a game up. Next up, we have Jick, who I remember. He's graduated several times. And he says, currently on a pretty good streak of OTB that I play every 2 weeks at the club. Not putting a ton of time on studying per day, but it seems that consistency pays off. Also found a regular sparring partner from the current cohort. Managed to jump over the 1450 hurdle after my last game, which I've personally set as a limit for graduating. I imagine the Finnish rating system is a tiny bit inflated compared to FIDE, although I'm not sure. Yeah, FIDE has now inflated itself beyond all belief, and the dojo has not. There's a guy named Chess Numbers who's supposed to come over, have a consult with us, and help us dial it in. Anyways, here we go. This is Jick from Finland. Really cool. Graduated many times. And so this is a Finnish rating. Fine. We have several national ratings in there. So whether Jack, our developer genius, can grab it is a question of the website. But if you approach him and say, hey, we want the Finnish thing in there, then we could probably set it up. Okay, here we go. Wait, first we want to see tactics. We want you to do the tactics test. That looks pretty reasonable. Looks like the Polgar mate test you didn't do as well as these other things over here. Looks like this is tactic strength. That's what I see there. Okay, activity. Oh, there's a lot of work over there, and then we're gonna go down one. So 80 hours of work to get here, 126 points. That's strong. That's just really strong. Games. We got a lot. Looking good. So this game, and I like this too. I like to see a difference in the time. Like he played this and sat on it, studied it for 11 days, and then, maybe not working on it every day, but the subconscious will be working on it. So, we'll mark it. Oh, the time is not available. It's a little bit of a thing to put the times in. Fellow dojo member Hannes. Okay. So cool. So they're out there in Finland. This is one of the joys of the dojo getting bigger. We now have dojo members in every big area. So people being able to find dojo players to play against, it's amazing because they can do sparring together. They'll have a better culture of, say, doing postmortems. Maybe Hannes also did an analysis of the game and we can see that and compare it. Fantastic. All right, here we go. E4. Fine. A little weird. Now, let's just talk about what's going on here. This is called a Carlsbad structure. And the thing that is happening here, and probably you understand this, is that we are obsessed, white is obsessed and black is obsessed about getting this bishop out to this square, Why? Because they would like to get the bishop outside the pawn chain before closing it in. You could play knight f3 too, though. It's not the end of the world if they get this, right? And so a lot of times the white player will do so many weird things to avoid the bishop g4 that it ends up being a negative in itself. Kind of like bishop e3. Okay, now he gets it. So bishop e3 now makes no sense. Notice it's not clear that it belongs there, and it's also going to be in the way of the rook, which is one of your key friends in this setup. Okay. Poor move. This helps you develop your worst piece there. H6 was also unnecessary. Knight G4. Okay. A little frisky. And now you play G3. I would have played H3, but I'm not going to say anything about it. Knight E3, rook takes. Beautiful. Okay. Queen E2. Very nice. That's a nice multi-purpose move. Now let's talk about this position a little bit. One cool thing about playing an opening is that you can get good at the structures and ideas in said opening. So this is a Carlsbad structure. One of the most interesting things for me about maybe chess in general, but especially the Carlsbad, is it always looks like it's going to be a boring or tame affair, and then the most insane shit happens. Sorry, excuse my French. And, this, I would say, to my eyes, is a roughly equal position, but it's hot. It's a very hot position. So our pawns are pointing this way. We're going to put a knight here. And then we're going to need to attack against the king. It's a mild bummer that our rook can't swing anymore, right? Also, bishops of opposite color increases the volatility of the situation, i.e., if you can get an attack on the light squares, well, then you really got something going, because you're up a piece on the light squares. Same thing for black on the dark squares. Okay, so Queen E2 is nice. It does this, and it prevents B5. Okay, so rook Fe8, I don't like it. A6 would have been more to the point. Knight H4, I don't think I get it. Now your knight's going away. I think there's two plans here to consider for white. You could consider bishop b1 followed by queen d3. You can consider knight e5. Just to say that's where that's where it belongs. That's where I'm going to put it. You're also not in a super rush to play either of those moves. You could do a building move like h4 or a building move like king g2, because when you play bishop b1, well, then dude can play b5 immediately, right? Now you can imagine, Kraai, well, you can say, Kraai, what's h4 about? Well, that's where I want to kill him. That's my side of the board. And h4, let's say I go bishop b1, queen d3, and he goes g6, and I'm ready to pop him. I might at some point pop him with this too, depending on how things go. So h4 will always be a useful move. And it's understanding things like that which will help you, because you're going to get, if you play this against the Caro, you're going to get a lot of positions that have this similar dynamic. And I'll just stress, this is very violent. It's a very violent position. I'm new here. Who am I? My name is GM Jesse Kraai, and this is the Chess Dojo, and we're doing the training program graduates, people over 1,000 who have gone up from one cohort to the other. Can I play with you? Not right now. Hubskirt's talking about a4. Maybe a4, but at the moment, black's not threatening b5, so I'm not in a hurry about it. But I definitely don't like this. This is not where the knight belongs. Knight e7. Black needs to be playing for b5. Okay, I'm not sure what our threat is. And now b5. Okay. So, rook f3. That is definitely a blunder. And rook e6. So, what's cool about this is it's not just a pawn, but it's like access to the light squares. So now we get this square, for example, and this square is loosening too. I think we should analyze queen d7. Because I think to take the pawn, we need to know that we can not have this happen to us, right? I think the answer, I would want to check it myself, is knight f5, threatening mate, And then I don't think he can take the rook. Right? Okay. So, rook b6. Queen h5. That's an aggressive move. In fact, maybe on queen d7 you can also play queen h5. Makes a lot of sense. Dang, take it easy. Dang. Oh, man. That's killing this guy. So, one of the things that's interesting, okay? Here's, for example, where I was saying how hectic things get in these positions. And it happened. You look at this position, you could say to yourself, maybe roughly balanced, nothing too much is happening. No, the fight is on. It's going to be an attack on opposite wings. There's going to be calculation. There's going to be fire. The whole thing's happening, son. The whole thing's happening. Okay, cool. Great game. Next up, we have Liquid Swagger. Let's see what's going on with Liquid Swagger. All right, so 1707. This is probably the FIDE boost that happened here. Everybody got the FIDE boost right around this. Yeah, that's definitely the FIDE boost. Okay. So now, with a lot of times people get the FIDE boost, now their USCF is lower. We definitely want this person to be doing some tests. Let's see what's going on here. Clubs? No. Activity? Not a whole lot. I'm guessing no games. No. Liquid Swagger, bud. Cool that you're graduating and all, boss, but we need some games. We need some work. Yeah, we need some sweat work. Jick is in the chat. It's so cool that you're here, man. Yeah. Next up, we have Philip. All right, I'm going to follow Philip. So, 1751 has a recent rise, looking pretty good. We want Philip to be doing these tests. And let's look at what's going on. No clubs. Oh, just a smidge of activity. A smidge. And no games. One thing I've observed on these shows is that the players who are higher rated. By the way, we have this book. It's been taking forever. Oh, this is Kostya's fault. But it's called How to Analyze Your Games. And something I believe I've discovered is that players who are higher rated have a harder time starting the process of sincerely annotating their games, looking at their games. And my conviction is that the reason this is the case, and this was the case for me too, and I can see in other players, is that you've invested at the point in your life, let's say 1800, you have invested so much time and so much of your identity in the game that it's far more difficult for you to begin the process of tearing apart your own games, because it's your ego. That's who you are, Whereas somebody, let's say in the under 1,000 cohort, well, to them it's natural to say, okay, I'm making all these mistakes. They haven't invested all this energy and soul into their chess yet. So it's an interesting block that happens, I think, with a lot of more advanced players. I'm just guessing with Philip. I don't know anything about Philip. I'm just saying I see it as a trend. Okay, here we go. Obrangutang says, I haven't been able to practice in a while as me and my girlfriend just had a daughter. Congratulations. The rating increase comes with the FIDE boost. So there are no new games to take a look at. Of the last games, Rui was already looked at last graduation. Julia, I played terribly against, but I'm proud of my game against Björn. Maybe have a look at that. Okay. So here we go. So, oh, he had a daughter. He's not coming back to chess for a while, but. Okay. So, 1775 with the FIDE boost. Trying to get some dojo points during my commute to work. Okay. So, we want you to do some tests. That would be a good thing. You got an hour free at some point. Boom. Take those tests. Clubs. Oh, yeah, Sweden. Oh, dude, I got invited to go play a tournament in Stockholm a couple of years ago. There's a dojo member. Oh, man, I want to go. But I have kids, dude, just like this dude, It is what it is. All right, so lots of games and analysis, refuting the point I just made, right? Okay, so, and he wanted me to look at a particular game, which was Bjorn, I believe. Okay, so this is Bjorn. I'll mark this as red. Times aren't in. So this is somebody who is 200 points higher. And let's take a look. Okay. Poor move, right? Poor move. Good. I guess I would prefer bishop g4. You know, you might as well. But okay. Beautiful. Fine. Poor. Unambitious. Well said. Knight bd7, h3, also unambitious. Queen c7, rook e1, and now here you went, we're going to say you went for the gold. You went for the gold over here. Okay, so I think this is okay. It's just risky. Okay. Yeah, all of our stuff looks great. All right, bishop e3. And now this is a hell of a move you go for here. h5. Oh, buddy. Okay. Now, my first question is definitely going to be, could dude have snipped your pawn? And what would have happened if dude had snipped your pawn? We may not trap El Bishovsky because of this business. Maybe, however, you planned this one. I still don't know if it's a done deal for us, though, because imagine, pop. If we take this one, he takes this one. If we take this one, he takes this one. So he's blowing you apart a little bit. Now, this one, I want to just say, is hard for me to evaluate. Okay? It's hard for me to evaluate. So, I'll say the prudent move would be either knight b6 or king b8. I think like you're allowing too much. And if I was white, I would definitely be encouraged to go for it. Because my positions, you know, I don't know what, if I'm white, I'm like, what am I doing here? You know, what am I doing? What am I doing? I don't know. Okay, knight d4. g6, interesting. a3, okay, at least played with an idea. h4, okay, okay, so one of the curious things about h5 in general to me was, let's go back a second. In the same way he's thinking about this kind of thing, I think you should be thinking about g5, g4. Yeah, pure madness, in fact, would be just throwing it, just saying, Bows, I don't care about nothing no more. I don't care about nothing no more. Now, that's a little bit loose, especially because I think we believe in your position. And since we believe in your position, I mean, you know, it makes sense to just push. You got the jump here. You're the one, you know, should have the initiative first. But h5, I'm not sure how you're popping him open. Okay, b5. Now, let's say the obvious. If white plays b5, they need to contend with what is going to happen after c5. Are you closing them down? It looks a little bit like you're closing them down. One question I have is, would this have hurt you? Queen b8, this thing. Now, we can check him, but our bishop has grief finding its. This is hard. This is spicy. This is spicy. See what I'm saying? This, however, looks like a mistake. c5, knight f3. And you talking about b6, and I agree. We should be trying something like b6. I think the big question on b6 is queen b6. But then maybe you're saying you're right, maybe rook b1. There's still questions like b6, queen b6, rook b1, queen a5. You know, I'm not sure he's getting into you. Necessary to halt the advance on my king. But there's no more advance. There's no more advance. Why don't we play, let's say, knight b6? And then we can think about this move. This one worries me, b6. He goes a4. Okay, here it comes. g5. Now, whether this is right or wrong, it's in the correct spirit. You must go after this person. Okay, so king f1, that was not it. One thing that's interesting to me about the game is your opponent has at several points played passively. And this is definitely the case here. And I agree with you that knight g5 is the main variation. This looks like chicken scratch. Like it could have been cleaned up, but absolutely, this is the line to analyze. Now you did a super long variation beginning with knight h5 here. I'm not convinced that's the only move you've got. Knight e5 looks plausible, for example. And it's hot. There's no doubt that this is hot. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at what happened. King f1. Good move. Oh my gosh, this guy's just going backwards and backwards. Not for you, buddy. Okay. Okay. Queen b7 is also a thought we should think about. There we go. Ooh, very nice. e5. Ooh, doggy. Dang. Dang. That wasn't very nice. That was a good game. That was great. Absolutely. Okay, so, well done. And now we got one more. Regaining the elo I tilted away is Duncan Klottfelter. And Duncan Klottfelter is playing a lot of rapid on chess.com. You can see it. He's playing a lot. And he needs to do his tactics. Dojo 1.0, good to see. Back when we were young. All right, clubs, no clubs. Activity, just a little bit. And yeah, well, I can click this, but he hasn't done much. Okay, 3 hours. Games. No, oh, Duncan. Okay, my friends, actually, before I do anything else, let me just go over here. Games. See if there's any games to review here. No games for you. You can submit a game for me to review, or anybody to review on a future Twitch stream. Let me show you guys the tests that I want you to take. We got tactics, checkmate, endgame tests, bows. We need you to take them. We need you to take them. The endgame tests are very new, and we just don't have enough people taking them so far. We do not have enough people taking them so far. So here we go. For example, this one. Let's view the stats. We only got 18 people. And I think, so this is an example, like this person, I'm going to guess, didn't try too hard. And then it flattens the line. Now, it's not the end of the world, but, you know, if we have 100 people taking this test, then somebody who didn't try isn't going to ruin the line. It's not totally ruined, but here it goes 1350 to 2100. It should go higher than that, you know, because you score 92, you're like a super GM, Bubs. Skevik says he'll take the test this weekend. Nice. Okay, my friends, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to play just a touch of blitz. All right, I'll talk to you in a second.